No, I absolutely love what the CTS is doing. I think it's a great opportunity for international students. I have a couple international students, friends of my own, who really wanted to get into college, but unfortunately didn't have the resources to get into a great college that they wanted to. And so I think CTS is doing the right thing by giving those opportunities and giving this chance to really connect with other, mentors and other students who have gone through similar obstacles. So yeah, I fully support their mission. I think it's a
Okay,
great
thank
one.
you, Zone. Let's
Yeah.
cross the sky limit. Hello, John. Hello. Who are you?
Hello, hello.
Yeah. So, John, who got into Harvard class of 2027. So, John, please introduce.
Yes, hi, hi. Thank you so much, Krishna. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege and it's an honor to be here. My name is Zon Forest Moua, if you haven't already heard. But I live in Merced, California. I'm in the USA, and I guess I'm going to Harvard next year in Cambridge. So my major right now is a little undecided, but I applied as a biomedical slash biochemistry major.
In everyone's life, there was a point, or you can say that time when they said that okay, that's the time when I started my journey, my started journey towards Harvard or my dream. So, according to you, in which class or in which time you said that okay, my journey started?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good question. I think to me, honestly, growing up with the dad, being Hmong American, not just being a person of color, but being Hmong American, and not really having that sort of representation in higher education. I think it was really important for me, like always, to go to a really nice school. My parents, they were very big on education. They're like, go to school, get your degree, go somewhere good, hopefully. But for me, I'd say it mainly started in I'd say the summer of my eighth grade. Right after middle school ended, I took a class at the junior college in my local town. I took general physics one, and it was really hard. It was really hard. I almost failed, but luckily my professor was very supportive, and I had a lot of support from my friends and my family. So I managed to ace that class barely, and that was sort of the beginning of my college journey. After that, I started taking a lot more AP classes, a lot of more extracurriculars in science, etc. And so that's really where I'd say it began.
And Zone, what about your academics? Like how much GPA, etc., and SAT score?
Yeah, interestingly, I actually did not take the SAT or ACT. I decided to opt out of the standardized testing because the COVID-19 pandemic. So because this year was test optional for most schools, I think a couple of schools weren't test optional. MIT, a couple other ones, but Harvard, Stanford, Caltech, John Hopkins, the UCs, they all were test optional. So I decided to not report my test scores. But other than that, I I believe I took the PSAT. I scored really horribly. I got like a 1200 or something, and on the SAT I got like a 1200 too. And I did not study for them, so I was like, yeah, I think it's best to not report this because that'll probably lower my chances of getting into a good school.
Okay, perfect, Zone, perfect. And what about the AP exams? Like, did you take any AP exam?
Yeah, yeah. I took a lot of AP classes and a lot of AP exams. Um, Ever since freshman year, my freshman year I took AP biology. My sophomore year I took AP chemistry, AP computer science. I took a lot. Basically, my junior senior year, I took a lot more than my freshman and sophomore year. But I took AP Lit, AP Lang, AP Psychology, AP Physics, a lot of other AP classes as well. And they were very challenging, don't get me wrong, but I managed to pass a majority of them. But I believe the only five I got was AP Calculus AB, so definitely not the most impressive standardized tester. So don't come to me when it comes to test recommendations.
Zone, I have a big question. As you know that recently Supreme Court announced that they are restricting race-based conscious admission. So what about your thinking? Like, are you agree that yeah, it's a good decision, or any opinion for that?
Yeah, that's a loaded question for sure. For me personally, coming from a community that's been historically marginalized and sort of undocumented, it was very important for my race to be shown. And I understand that's a very controversial opinion. People like to think about merit and how that has its value, and I agree too, of course. But from my background and from my opinion, this is strictly my opinion. I am in favor of race based admissions. So
Yeah.
Harvard and Stanford. And the UCs, I completely agree with race-based admissions. I think it has its place, and it should. It's definitely not taken out of proportion. I think it's definitely taken in a more holistic manner. So I think that's a good idea. I still agree with economic affirmative action for lower social economic class. Sorry, and not just because it applied to me, but because of the support and how much opportunity it offers to very historically marginalized communities of color, including the Hmong community of which I originate from.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with that, and I am also have a same kind of opinion, because I believe that race conscious admission will help students who are from other communities, or mostly international students. And so yeah, I'm agree with that. According to you, like, there are any possibilities that it will be restrict in college admission? Any possibilities? I don't think Supreme Court
Yeah.
will change the question. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's definitely tough to say. I of course I can't predict the future. I would love if it could be, but the way it's going right now, it doesn't seem that the Supreme Court will lean in that favor for a long time at least. But that's sort of expected. There are other ways for schools to sort of circumvent and go around that. There are little loopholes, but um, what matters is that there's still opportunities, there's still scholarships, there's still other organizations that can help low income or just even other minorities, minorities of color.
Yeah, exactly. And according to me, they are just removing questions from Common App and college application related to race. But I think you can share your race or your community in your essays, in your whole application. So I think, yeah, they just removed, but in future it will be the factor for college admission officers. All students, they can easily add their community or race. So
Oh
is
yes,
it, yeah, is it good idea, na? Like, to show your race and everything in your essays?
definitely, definitely. I'd say it's in my opinion, your race is a part of your identity, and if that's aligns with your narrative and that aligns with your story, then it's most important to display that. And for me, that was very important for myself. For other people, a lot of my other Hmong and Mexican and Black and you know other friends of color, it was very important to their identity. And I think that's a, a really big thing that colleges care about nowadays, your identity and how you explore that and how you navigate yourself through life. That's what really helped motivate me through the college application process, because it could be very confusing at times. So having that
Yeah.
sort of affirmation, it helps you a lot. And if you can explain that in your essays, you definitely should do that. That's what I did. And a lot of the college admissions officers that I've spoken to, they are very much in favor of race conscious admissions. So
Yeah.
anything like that will definitely help you if you mention that in your
Yeah,
essays.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I agree with that. You are the, like, president and editor in chief in Beer News Network, and so please share that experience, like, when you started or everything.
I was the co sort of like managing editor my junior year of my school's paper. Basically, we like had little newsletters every month or so, and my senior year I was promoted to editor in chief, and so I did a lot of editing. It was a lot of writing, a lot of revising for other people actually, and I basically handled the whole system of the newspaper for my school, and it was a lot of pressure, a lot of work, but it was so fulfilling and so rewarding because of the students I got to work with, and getting to see the perspectives and getting to see the lifestyle of my school community. It was amazing. We were called the Bear News Network, and we had our own little podcasts at times. So I was one of the podcast editors and one of the actual speakers on the podcast. So that was really amazing. I got to work with some amazing teachers. The entire point of my publication was to show the student life, not just like the teachers or current
Yeah.
events. And I think that was really important in college admissions, because if you can show yourself and you can show your personality and what views and what perspectives you have, I think that's even better, because that makes you a little different. It's kind of separates yourself in your own sort of take, and so that was my way of specializing myself.
Okay, it was a great experience, and I think podcasting and that stuff will definitely help you in, also help you in future. Maybe you will be be a part of Harvard News Channel news written like that. So Zone, I have another big question. Okay, so according to you, which is the best, or you can say that most impacting factor in your college application? You find that okay, that extracurricular or that thing is have the most impact in my college application. Anything?
Oh wow, yeah, that's a tough question. Oh
Yeah.
man, I think for me, yeah, for me, it's undoubtedly my essays. That goes first. That goes first. My essays were my way of communicating how I went through life and sort of my struggles. I lost my dad in my freshman year of high school, so that was a very big sort of turning point in my life, and is pivotal to my story. And talking about that, talking about my experiences with grief, and also talking about my experiences after that, with my family and my friends. I think that was a very big part of my application, and I think to anyone else who's also has like this sort of monumental part of their life that they want to share, they definitely should in their college apps. I think it's for me that was the number one thing, being vulnerable and expressing myself in my application in a way that was original to myself, and I had my own style that I wanted to share it with. But other than that, on a more technical basis, I did some research for the UC Merced, which is a local university near me, a couple miles away, and that was great. I actually just found out that I was awarded the Longkanti scholarship, I believe it's pronounced, and it's awarded to one person per year. And I was fortunate enough to receive it this year. And the research I worked at was called Project Seed. It's a program for low income students across the nation, and so that's what I also did. And I had some technical scientific research, not just purely my essays, of course. That's the biggest thing. If you have essays and you have experience, those two things those will push you far into the college application process.
Yeah, your story is amazing. I can say that great story, and so sad for your father. So first of all, like your story is, I think, emotional, also emotional. So Zon, what about your future plans? You have any future plans? Okay, I will start that. I will do that, or I will choose that major. Any future plans?
That's a great question. I was actually just thinking about this before this interview, because I honestly have not too much of a solid clue. I think I have a foundation. I applied, as I said before, as a biomedical engineering major. My hopes in my essays was that I can hopefully cure cancer. Knock on wood. But I would love to be on the front of scientific research for biomedicine. I think that's a big thing for me. I always wanted to sort of honor my dad in that way because he passed from nasopharyngeal cancer, and a lot of my family they're affected by cancer, and so seeing the sort of hold the grasp that cancer has on not just my family but society as a whole. It's one of the number one causes of death. It's been a big motivation for me to go into that field of science and research. If not that, I'm actually thinking of also going into something more niche, kind of more like scientific journalism. I'd love to maybe being an op-ed writer or just a writer in general for like the New York Times or any sort of publication. I think that'd be awesome. Scientific journalism is a really niche pocket for the literary industry. So if I can like go into that, I think that'd be a really cool take. Because there's not that many journalists who specialize in the scientific field or that community. So I'd love to go into that and sort of connect the two fields that people think are like different, like art and like writing and science on one hand. So it'd be cool to go through that. But I definitely want to travel the world, and if journalism is that way or if science is that way, anything, I just want to have a very nice humble life. I think that'd be my ultimate standard of a good life.
Okay, Zone. First of all, like your whole family will proud of you, and man, you are like too amazing. Like you are doing for your community, and you have a future plans for your community, and like that. So I love that. I love everything. Thank you for doing that. Because like cancer is the most crucial thing. Like it, you can say that destroy many families, or you can say that is terrible. Okay, my one student also have the same kind of thing. His father is struggling with cancer, blood cancer, but now he recovered. So that's the main thing. Okay, so Zone, what about like your essays, like any tips for students how to write good essay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. First off, I'm so sorry to hear that about your friend. I'm so glad he's recovering. I think that's a great thing for him, and I'm so happy for him. But
Thank you.
yes, yes. About writing a good essay. Oh, that's a very pumped question. A lot of possible ways you can answer it, but I think the biggest thing for me in my experience of writing, I definitely can't say what works for everyone. You know, everyone has their own approach to writing what they consider a good essay. You know, in my opinion, there's never such thing as a perfect essay. There's no way you can sort of be a master at it, but there is your own approach, and I think that's what college admissions officers want. Is they want a unique outlook on how you view the world. And so for me, the best way to do that is to be honest. You know, a lot of people I talk to, I helped just friends edit their essays, and they try to sound very smart and sophisticated, and they sound like nothing like themselves. You know, they use really big words, and they instead of using like big or whatever, they use like gargantuan, and I'm just like, no, just write how you would yourself, because college admissions officers, they don't want to read an essay. They don't want an actual essay. They want a story. You know, they want a story about your life and your journey. And so when they read a bunch of
So in the description, I want to add your essays. Like many students are saying that I want to read Zone's essay, how he like write it. So if you are comfortable, then please share. Otherwise, it's okay. It's okay because I
yeah,
believe like yeah, I respect privacy because many students are using some private stuff in their college admission essays. So yeah, it depends on you. So can you say something about Quest Breeze finalist?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd be more than welcome to talk about that. QuestBridge finalists. It's QuestBridge is basically an organization for low income students, and so it allows them to match with a school or university that they have in mind. For me personally, I did not go through with the match, so the match is binding most of the time, and so that binding basically secures your spot at that university, and you're obligated to go. So I decided to apply to QuestBridge, but I decided, well, after talking to my college advisor, he
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of told me that it'd be better to apply to Stanford. Stanford at the time was my dream school and my number one choice. So he told me to apply to Stanford as restrictive early action. So I decided to apply REA, and I was privileged enough to get in. So instead of going with the QuestBridge route, which was also early action, I decided to apply strictly to Stanford and then apply regular decision to other schools like Harvard, John Hopkins, Caltech, et cetera, et cetera.
And how to apply for quiz based? It's available for international students or only for like US students?
I'm not too sure about international. I believe it does not, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You might have to look it up. But QuestBridge is it's yeah, anyone could apply if you are
Yeah,
considered low income. So
yeah,
you have to be eligible first, and you have to be Pell eligible. But other than that, I believe you're considered low income, you can apply. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, you're right. Okay, you're right. Okay, so Zon, like what about why this college, like why Harvard, why Columbia, why this university? So how did you approach that question? Like did you research about that university, or you just have like write about your personal views?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Choosing Harvard was not an easy decision. To many
yeah,
people, Harvard is like their dream school, and it's a dream come true, and of course it was for me too. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
I was in a really struggling position, or I'm very grateful for. Of course, I had to pick between three great schools, Stanford, Harvard, and Yale, and after visiting all three, I was always very close to Stanford growing up in California, so I was very familiar with that campus. But I decided that I wanted to change a little bit. Even though Stanford was my top school at the time, I kind of figured that I wanted to move away, at least for a little bit, to see how it is to live not in California. So Yale was a big factor. It was compelling, but I love Yale's campus. It's very beautiful in New Haven over there. It's a very beautiful campus. But I think Harvard just had the best of all those worlds, where it had like the city, the city of Boston right there, and so many other universities like MIT, Tufts, Amherst, like, all these other schools are so beautiful and so great too. And Harvard having that history and that sort of magic, that ancient magic of being at Harvard, it sort of compelled me to choose Harvard instead of Yale or Stanford or any of the other schools.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Great, Zone. Zone, what about it's a biggest question. You can say that there are many students who are hiring. You can say that paid counselors. Okay, like paying $1,000 $2,000 only for counselor or SED classes. So according to you, is it important to hire counselor or taking some like paid online classes for SAT preparation, AP classes? So is it mandatory according to you, or you can also handle everything by your own? So what's about your opinion?
Oh man, that is a good question. Um, don't get me wrong. I was very fortunate, and I'm very grateful to have a lot of support from other student groups. I had a lot of help from the Hmong Student Union at Stanford. A lot of them my friends, and they helped me through the college application process. And I was very lucky to have my own personal sort of mentor and guide. He who used to be a former admissions officer at Stanford, and he helps Hmong people in the community for free. So I was very, very grateful for him. Shout out to Vince Moua. He was a huge motivator and huge advisor in a lot of my decisions. So I could not get into college without him. In my opinion, I don't think I'd be anywhere near where I am without him. So I wouldn't say that's mandatory to have a mentor. I've known a lot of people who have gone through college or the college application process without a mentor, first you could say. But I think if you want to have a shot at the top universities, it's best to have a mentor. You don't have to pay for them. Hopefully, if you have some connections or if you know anyone who's willing to help you for free, that's even better. I'm a strong believer in nonprofits. I think that's a big next
Exactly.
era, yeah, next generation. I think that's a big key to getting into higher education nowadays. If you're low income or if you can't afford, a $2,000 college advisor or
Yeah,
counselor.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah.
What's the name of that counselor?
Oh yeah, yes. Vince Moore, he was a great mentor of mine, but unfortunately, he only helps um, Hmong people in our community. So he
Yeah,
was
yeah, I respect him, and I love that. Thank you. He is doing great work, and I am also helping students in as a non-profit from last 3 to 4 years. And I believe that I connected with students from low income families, and the experience was amazing. Because in a paid program, yeah, you are paying paying your for your counseling or like that. But in a non-profit, you are connected with emotionally with students, and helping real students who need the most. Because if we are talking about students from rich families, so they have everything. They have counselors, they have family support, their families are helping a lot, because their family also know about college application. But for low income families, students like us, so yeah, non-profit is amazing, and that was great. So Zon, what about your friends? From your school, there are many students who got into some good universities.
um, yeah. I actually come from a relatively small school. There's about 400 people in my class, but yeah, no, there weren't too many big name colleges. There are a couple friends of mine going to University of Richmond, a great school. Also, a lot of my friends are going to UC Berkeley, or a couple of them going to UCLA, and some other schools like UC Davis. It's pretty rare. I'd say it's like occasionally you'll get a couple or one or two every year who go to like Yale. Like my friend last year got into Yale, and my friend from 3 years ago got into Harvard. Also, and I'm going to be meeting up
Okay.
with him there. So yeah, but not so many this year. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Zone, what about financial aid? How much financial aid you received, and how much still you have to pay? So what about your financial aid?
Yeah. I'm very fortunate to be in the position where Harvard is willing to generously pay for all of my tuition and basically education, transportation, all that stuff for all 4 years. A lot of the top 20 schools, a lot of the top schools in general, the very rich, sort of prestigious elitist schools will pay for all 4 years if you are considered, under that threshold of income. So, I guess you can say I'm fortunate to be unfortunate.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, so they are covering everything. And Zone, what about your like personal life? Are you like meditating? Because like I think in your community, meditation or like praying, it's common. So what about your personal life?
Yeah, yeah. At the time, I'm just trying to, fully connect with my community before I leave. Fully, just appreciate the time I have with my family here. I've been doing a little bit of journaling. I've been, writing a little when I can. I should probably be reading more than I am, but I've started getting into, more books and more articles that I've been interested in. So at the time, I'm just kind of having fun. In a couple hours, I'm actually gonna go play some ping pong with my friend, and we'll just hang out. That's what the summer's for me right now, at least, just hanging out before I go off to stress and feel that anxiety at Harvard.
Okay, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. So, Zone, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your amazing thoughts and guiding to all students. I believe that your journey will help thousands of students. So, Zone, like we covered everything regarding your college application, your high school journey. So, what about your like another personal life? You have any girlfriend or like that? Yeah,
No,
sorry,
no.
too personal question. Yeah.
At the moment, no, I do not. No, I'm sort of just enjoying the single life.
Yeah,
Hopefully, or maybe my family doesn't want me to, in their words, be distracted at Harvard. So
yeah,
they're
exactly.
very anti girlfriend. But I'm sort of just focusing on myself. I definitely want to have fun at Harvard and while I'm home. But I'm just sort of living in the moment.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Like I also like interviewed many peoples from some good universities. So they have girlfriends, but they said that please cut that part, and they said okay, I don't have girlfriend. So yeah, I believe, and so I love that, and all the best for your future journey because your journey just started. It's a whole journey. Thank you, John. So I'm just ending. Okay.
Yeah,
So
thank you
before
so much, Krishna. Thank you so much for
yeah,
having me. I am so
yeah,
grateful for this opportunity, and yeah, have a great day, have a great experience because I'm so glad to have been on this interview with you. Thank you
yeah,
so much for having me. I am so grateful for this opportunity, and yeah, have a great day, have a great experience because I'm so glad
yeah.
to. No, I absolutely love what the CTS is doing. I think it's a great opportunity for international students. I have a couple international students, friends of my own, who really wanted to get into college, but unfortunately didn't have the resources to get into a great college that they wanted to. And so I think CTS is doing the right thing by giving those opportunities and giving this chance to really connect with other, mentors and other students who have gone through similar obstacles. So I fully support their mission. I think it's a
Okay.
great one.
Thank you, Zone. Let's
Yeah.
cross the sky limit. Okay. So bye bye. Just a
Goodbye.
minute.